Welcome to Cosmic Diaries. This is Priya Kale, your astrologer, and we're looking at the week of October 24th, moving to the end of the month on October 31st. So, it's been a minute since I recorded a podcast, but we are between eclipses now, and I figured this was a great time to get back on track. And as I record this today, it is the 24th of October, so the moon is moving through Pisces. We're past the first quarter of the moon, and we're heading to the Taurus full moon and partial lunar eclipse on the 28th of October. So we'll get into that more in a minute, but as we move to the full moon and the days progress, the emotional tide is certainly rising. The sun is now newly entered Scorpio, and Scorpio is a water sign. It's a fixed water sign, and which means it deals with emotions and powerful emotions. Scorpio deals with the process of transformation, metamorphosis. It deals with matters of death and change and resurrection. So with the sun in Scorpio now, and Mars is in Scorpio, and Mercury is also in Scorpio. Mars is leading this train of planets. The air is thick with change, and there's a powerful transformation underway wherever you have Scorpio in your chart. So pay attention, because this area of your life is being highlighted and illuminated with the sun's transit and the transiting planets. And of course, pay attention to where you have Taurus in your chart, because as the full moon aligns, this axis, the Taurus-Scorpio axis, is being highlighted in your life and in your chart, bringing matters and situations to a head. And the Taurus-Scorpio axis is the most powerful axis of the zodiac. It deals with matters of life and death and very real life changes of money and our deepest commitments and bonds. This energy is sexual, sensual, magnetic, seductive, rich, and fertile. Move with awareness through this week as you move to the full moon, and consciously let go of any power struggles that may have arisen or they may be arising. The more you can surrender to the changes unfolding, you can reclaim your power in situations, especially where you may currently feel powerless. And I have sent out the newsletter to subscribers with a written overview of this week's energy along with the eclipse energy. So if you want to sign up for that, you can. That's $27 a month, and I send out about 2 to 4 reports, and I'm going to start doing webinars as well. So if you're interested, you can definitely sign up for that, and it will help me and support this channel. Coming back to the astrology, today the moon is moving through Pisces and making harmonious aspects. It's already past a conjunction to Saturn and trine to Sun and Mercury by the time of my recording this. But the moon will trine Mars this evening, sextile Jupiter, and then overnight on the 25th, or rather early morning on the 25th, will oppose Venus, then sextile Uranus on the 25th evening, conjunct Neptune later on the 25th, and finally sextile Pluto from Pisces early overnight on the 26th. At 2:39 a.m. So between the 24th and early morning on the 26th here in New York, the moon is moving through Pisces, making all these aspects. So there's a lot that is stirring within us and around us. And in Pisces, Pisces is a mute sign. So there may be not a lot that's being said or spoken, but at the same time, trust your intuition, because Pisces deals with intuition. And Scorpio as well, with the sun in Scorpio. Scorpio is also a very intuitive sign. So trust your intuition and trust how you're feeling. That said, if there are any heavier emotions surfacing, release them consciously, and definitely avoid assumptions or projections now. We are between the Libra new moon cycle moving to the Taurus full moon cycle. Both of these are Venus ruled signs. Venus rules matters of love, money, relationships, beauty, creativity. And these are some of the themes that are being highlighted. And it's important now that we're leading with the heart and tuning into the heart rather than just giving in to our desires and our emotions. Venus, the ruler of Libra, both Libra and Taurus, is currently moving through Virgo. And Virgo is a Mercury ruled sign, so it can be an analytical sign. So it's important that we're not, overanalyzing situations and not overanalyzing or keeping score in relationships. Love is patient, love is kind, and to err is human. So the more we can learn to forgive now, but ourselves and others, for the past and learn our lessons, we can make more conscious choices moving ahead. We're still in this Libra new moon cycle, and Libra rules choices. Libra rules our relationships, but Libra also rules choices. And the sun and planets in Scorpio are now helping us transform and resurrect situations and purify situations and purify the darkness and the heaviness within ourselves. And the more we can let go of resentments, we can evolve and allow our relationship dynamics to evolve as well. So it's important to remember that our choices are shaping and reshaping our reality. And recently, the planets were moving through Libra. We've been weighing out our options, weighing out our choices. And now that the planets have moved into Scorpio, the Sun, Mercury, Mars, there's a sense of focus and of being led by these powerful urges and desires. And so that self-awareness is important, especially if we're feeling upset about something, because any anger ultimately is a secondary emotion. It always generally hides a deeper pain or hurt or sadness underneath. And anger ultimately tends to be, not just destructive, but self-destructive. So flow with this energy with awareness now and release any heavier emotions consciously. That said, there's a lot of magic in the air, and Pisces is the sign of magic. And things are transforming deeply, relationships are evolving profoundly. And if you're enjoying this energy, by all means, dive in. There's something very magical and sweet and divine and delicious about what's unfolding as well. And Pisces really represents cosmic consciousness. So there's good and there's bad. It's like this big old soup of everything. What matters is now where we are paying attention and where we are investing in energy, because that's what's going to grow and multiply into our experience. So invest your energy with awareness, whether it's in, choose the relationships that you're investing in consciously. It's all about equal relationships now and finding balance in our relationships and letting go of power struggles so we can deepen connections with others with powerful equals who truly see, appreciate, and value you for you. Don't underestimate the power of these eclipses now to completely change the landscape of our lives and relationships. With that moon in Pisces, dreams can come true, but it begins with us acknowledging our desires. Then we can take steps towards manifesting our dreams into reality. Then on the 26th, early in the morning at 6:01 a.m. in New York, the moon enters Aries and interestingly makes no aspects all through the 26th, all through the 27th, until it squares Pluto on the 28th at 4:20 a.m. And of course, 28th brings us to the day of the lunar eclipse. But with the moon moving through Aries, let's talk about that for a minute, from the 26th to the 28th. And there are no aspects taking place on the 26th or the 27th. So the moon doesn't make any aspects, the sun doesn't make any aspects. So there's this sense, and then the moon is in Aries, which is a Mars-ruled sign. So there's a heightened sense of emotions. We are heading to the lunar eclipse, and there may be a sense of urgency. Passions are rising. There may be heated emotions arising as well, whether it's desire, or fear, or anger. whatever you're feeling, acknowledge what you're feeling and move through it. Work with your emotions consciously rather than reacting. With Aries, non-reaction really is key. I mean, non-reaction is the key to life, but especially with the moon in Aries, non-reaction is key. Then you can harness this energy and focus your attention with awareness, with self-awareness, where it needs to be. With the moon in Aries, there's a need for trust. There's a need for feeling, safe. Certainly our relationships are in the mix. So ask yourself, what do I need to feel safe? What do I need to build trust? Especially in the case of any new relationships, trust is something that's built with time. But you can be curious and willing to learn about someone else without weighing something down with expectations. Also, what do you want? What do you really want? With Aries more than being about action or wanting and desire. It's really about just being. Whatever's unfolding over these next few, between the 26th and the 28th, with no other planetary aspects. On the one hand, we're being given a couple of days to really just realign with our own selves and to realign with our own will and our own desires and ask ourselves what we really want to happen and who we are and what we're manifesting and the path that we're on, and to really reflect on our life and our relationships and the people that matter to us and where there needs to be a balance. And certainly our loyalties are being tested. With the sun in Scorpio and the moon in Aries, this is very, both Mars rule signs and Mars at the head of the stellium in Scorpio. It really all comes back to you and each individual person. Early morning on the 28th, the Aries moon does square Pluto, so there is a sense of us, turning that corner within, and Pluto now is newly direct in Capricorn and in its final run through the sign of Capricorn. So, in effect, we are reclaiming our power in our lives to live our lives by our rules. And with that power comes responsibility. So, it will require total self-awareness moving ahead. Because then on the 28th, just a few hours later, the moon enters Taurus, and now we're heading to the Taurus full moon and lunar eclipse. The moon will sextile Saturn at 8:39 a.m., and then Mars opposes Jupiter on the 28th of October at 12:03, just before the eclipse. The exact full moon takes place at 4:24 p.m., and then Mercury opposes Jupiter at 11:44 p.m. And then the moon will continue through Taurus on the 29th, making conjunctions to Jupiter, opposition to Mercury, Mars. And on the 29th, Mercury will meet Mars as well. And then the moon continues through Taurus all the way until the 30th, early morning, so 29th night. So there's a lot going on, and I'm going to try and sum this up as best as I can. First of all, Sun in Scorpio opposite Moon in Taurus. This is what happens when an irresistible force meets an immovable object. Life is shifting powerfully on the surface, behind the scenes, in very tangible ways. The Taurus-Scorpio axis again deals with matters of life and death, of money, of resources, shared resources, of our closest commitments and relationships and bonds. Loyalties are being put to the test, and with Mercury and Mars in a conjunction making an opposition to Jupiter in Taurus, this is just heightening the energy of the eclipse. And there may be profound truths that are being revealed. There are searing truths, perhaps, and conversations coming to light, and revelations coming to light, and maybe buried truths, buried emotions. Move with this energy as slowly as possible. We are processing a lot emotionally, physically, mentally, and there are powerful emotions and desires arising. I mean, I can't even stress this enough. So just in terms of being physically embodied in your present, get grounded. Make sure you're eating well, getting enough rest, staying connected with the people that matter most to you. That said, there are obviously, with Mars conjunct Mercury, there may be heated conversations that are coming up. If you're involved in any sort of power struggle, again, consciously let go and step away from the power struggle. Allow things to cool down and revisit a situation rather than reacting and saying something you don't mean. At the same time, if things have, in the past, there has been trouble, this is an ideal time to clear the slate and let go of the past. Relationships can really even out and resurrect in a powerful way, where we deepen our understanding of our connections and the strength of our bonds. That said, it's just important that we are being honest with ourselves first, so we aren't biting off more than we can chew, or again, blowing something out of proportion, or letting historic hurts and pains overshadow all that is bright and beautiful and blossoming. Because with Mars and Mercury opposite Jupiter, this is just magnifying the eclipse in a huge way. And again, don't ask questions if you don't want answers to them. That said, at the time of eclipses, things can't be kept hidden for long. So if something has to come to the surface, things have to come to the surface. So there may be even bittersweet truths arising. As they say, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. There are huge revelations coming through, and it's important that we're just taking in what's coming through right now and being in no denial. Also, the Taurus-Scorpio axis is very seductive and sexual and magnetic and powerful, and there may be powerful attractions that are forming in existing relationships. Relationships could be deepening, moving to another level. There could be new relationships that are forming now. If you're meeting someone new, take your time, move slowly as you get to know this person. This could be a romantic, intimate connection, or even a business partnership or a new friendship. Taurus is slow-moving energy, but Taurus speaks of lasting, loyal commitments. You don't need to cling to anyone or anything right now. Trust that if someone or something is meant to be in your life, it'll stay. And on the same note, if you're afraid of a relationship ending, you try not to cling to anything that's changing. Surrender is the only way forward with Scorpio, because we can't control anyone else. We can barely control ourselves, and there's no need to control anyone or anything, not even our own desires. It's just a matter of acknowledging them. Then we can be present to ourselves and allow space for changes to take place within and around us, while being true to our own values and our own feelings. And the truth is, you are evolving. You're being revealed your own true feelings. In all respects, be patient. Taurus is all about patience. Be patient as the dust settles and you have more clarity in the coming days, because there's a lot more that's coming to light, and you're seeing situations and reality in a whole new light. And it'll take us some time to adjust to this new reality and landscape. So be patient with yourself and with others. There may be powerful sexual attractions taking place, but recognize there's a difference between love and intimacy and sex and commitment, and there's nothing wrong with any of them. But what matters is us being honest with ourselves about what we want and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable with another enough to share intimacy. And intimacy, of course, goes beyond sex. There's emotional intimacy. So it's our ability to ultimately be vulnerable enough with ourselves, so then we can share ourselves, feel safe enough and be vulnerable enough to share and deepen bonds with others in our life. And this sometimes takes time, and then sometimes during eclipses these things happen naturally, organically, rapidly. Wherever you are in this process, there's a lot that is shifting. However these eclipses are manifesting for you, with Jupiter, there are huge opportunities arising. It may not be in terms of emotional relationships, it may be financial opportunities in relationships. Whatever the case may be, get grounded and move slowly as you process everything that's coming through. Rather than feel overwhelmed or pressure, just slow down and take time to digest what's coming through first. If you need some time to process what you're feeling, say so. Clear communication again is important, and sometimes some things are better left unsaid. Scorpio at its deepest levels represents a process of ego death. So it's time to let go of the ego, but to really focus on what we value in a situation rather than just fighting with someone to be right. What we truly want is to be happy. So be willing to let go of the things that are, not bringing you joy. Very simply put, what matters now, what we really value. Because with Taurus, it all comes back to our values. Who we value, what we value, why we value them. Taurus rules physical energy, our money, tangible, valuable possessions, our income, even real estate. But at its depth, Taurus is about our intangible values and our sense of self-esteem and self-worth, how we value ourselves and the relationships and connections that we share, virtues of loyalty and patience, resourcefulness and our skills. These are also, and our talents, these are also our values. It is a very fertile sign, so it speaks of nature itself, but then nature reminds us that everything physical ultimately undergoes a process of change and transformation. The Taurus-Scorpio axis reminds us that everything changes. Relationships change. We don't take our money to the grave. The only thing that is really constant and doesn't die or even outlast death is love. So it's the love we have for the work we do. It's the love we have for the people we share in this present moment that lives on with us always, no matter how that relationship itself might change. So stay grounded in your values now, and then let go of clinging to anything that's changing and allow situations to transform, because you are evolving as much as your relationships are and partners are. So things are in flux. At the time of an eclipse, the moon's disk at the time of a lunar eclipse is wiped out and then reappears. In this case, it's a partial lunar eclipse. So we also see that, there's not everything from the past has been a wash. It's just some things that perhaps need to be released. That said, a full moon and an eclipse is the end of a cycle. And this is the last eclipse, lunar eclipse in Taurus, in this series of Taurus-Scorpio eclipses, which began back in November 2021. So it would really help to look back at what was beginning in 2021 November, especially in the area of your life ruled by Taurus and Scorpio, because these areas of your life were being cleansed out in a sense and eclipsed out in a sense. Wherever you had Scorpio in your chart and where you have Taurus in your chart, we've been steadily being drawn out of our comfort zone to explore new territory and new pastures and new opportunities that are arising. And now, 2 years later, this is the final closing chapter and final eclipse in Taurus, culminating this larger cycle that we've been in since November 2021. And now Jupiter is in Taurus. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and it asks us for perspective. And with Mars and Mercury making oppositions to Jupiter, there's a need to keep sight on the bigger picture. It's important to have perspective on how you've grown and look at how far you've come and what you've learned. So you embody these lessons and, don't continue to repeat patterns, especially any self-destructive patterns. Dig deep for your values now with Taurus. Trust a natural process of evolution. Move slowly. You needn't feel pressured by anything. That said, consciously let go of your perceptions, especially if you hear something that upsets you. If you can let go of your perceptions and avoid personalizing things, you can start to see a deeper truth. Because then there's almost a sense that we're shooting first and asking questions later. So avoid that. That said, there is an element of, things being set in motion, and then as the eclipse aligns and then the moon reappears, then there's more truth that starts to come to light, and we start to see the deeper truth in a mystery or something that's been baffling us, or something that is been shrouded and we haven't been able to see clearly. So pay attention to what surfaces in the days and following the eclipse, and move slowly, because there's a lot more information and revelations coming through. You don't have all the information right now, so it would be best to avoid assumptions. And the more you can let go of your perceptions, you can start to see reality. See how you can consciously even reshape reality. On the 30th of October, the moon enters Gemini. And so with the moon in Gemini and the recent Mars-Mercury aspect, certainly there's a lot more communication and information that's coming to the surface. Interestingly, on the 31st, Venus trines Uranus, which is lovely because these are unexpected developments, and Venus rules the recent eclipse in Taurus and our hearts, and there's a sense of feeling liberated or freed and reaching a breakthrough with something that we've been, working through for a while now. Because Mars, the Sun, Mercury have all made trines to Uranus over the course of the summer, or rather, depending on where you are in the world, since August. And now finally Venus makes this trine to Uranus. So it's like there's finally a sense of healing coming to our heart where, things were picked apart earlier over the past few months. So as you can see, there's a lot going on, and emotionally we're dealing with a lot. There are powerful emotions, desires coming to the surface, and this eclipse will bring real life changes that change the shape of our life and relationships in a tangible way. And financially as well, there are huge opportunities arising, and relationships are certainly moving to the next level. And that said, if there's any relationship that seems to be ending, let go. Trust that you can't lose anything or anyone that's right for you. And the love you share with someone will always remain. And if you can keep that alive in your heart, then you can trust that if a connection is right for you, it will evolve to meet you further down the road. But at the time of the full moon, the best thing that we can do, especially a Taurus full moon, the moon is exalted in Taurus, is to really get grounded in our own emotions and allow the world around us to reshape itself. And the more we can find, learn to value ourselves, then we can trust, we can draw into our lives people that truly value us and respect us and love us and appreciate and see us for who we are, and not just what we have to give or what we look like or our money or status or whatever else. Vice versa. That said, there are people in your world who really want to help you and give to you now. So it's just a matter of us feeling worthy of receiving the abundance that the universe has in store for us, and worthy of receiving the love that the universe has for us in our relationships and through everyone we meet. So I, for one, am patiently just trying to mind my business and do my work and see how all of this plays out, because I am a Taurus and I do have Scorpio rising. So these eclipses have certainly been quite a journey for me over the past couple of years. I can't say that it's all been smooth sailing. There's definitely been rocky moments and humbling moments. But at the same time, from where I am today, looking back, I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. And I hope that the eclipses will be kind to you and to me, and that we can all continue to grow and learn our lessons and blossom gently along with the universe. Because ultimately that's what Taurus Scorpio reminds us, it's a dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Everything that is born will one day die. But life itself is eternal. And ultimately we are pure consciousness, and the soul is immortal. And relationships may change form, but love never dies. With the sun moving through Scorpio and the moon full in Taurus, we are rediscovering what's really valuable to us in our lives and what we really cherish, and how precious these fleeting moments are with the people that we love. So cherish the relationships you love and the people that you love, and value yourself, because this life that we've been given is a treasure, and it's so sweet and so fragile. yet beautiful. Anyway, I will stop there for now, but thank you as always for listening. And once again, I have sent out a written report to subscribers, so if you want, you can sign up for that and get on the list. But I'm sending you all my love with the full moon, and I will catch you again next time. Bye for now. This is Priya signing off. Namaste.